Hey, welcome back to the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Justin Stoddart. Fired up about today's episode. I've had the good fortune to be introduced to and twist his arm and convince him to come on and pour into this audience. His name's Frank Driscoll. We're going to be talking about how to future-proof your business. If you want to be in the business 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and actually own your future, own your clients, this episode is absolutely 100% for you. Before I get into that, let me just share with you again, the purpose of this show is to put big thinkers in front of you, because the more people that you can surround yourself that are big thinkers, guess what? You become one too, and you start to forge your own destiny and create a future that you are excited about. So if you're interested in getting show notes and summaries, you can go to thinkbigger.realestate and sign up for the weekly review in your inbox every week. You get not only highlights, but action steps from amazing big thinkers like Frank. So Frank, thank you for coming on the show today. Excited to introduce to you, or to my audience, I should say, you and your genius around future-proofing your business.
Thank you so much. That's such a kind, warm welcome, Justin. And I'm really, really looking forward and excited to be on the show. I've heard great things.
Well, here's what people need to know about Frank that don't know him, right? He's a top coach and entrepreneur. He coaches the elite, right? Both in the entrepreneur space as well as in real estate.
Yes.
Some very close friends of mine are coached by you, and I've seen their business absolutely blow up. So I know firsthand, the work that you do. He has, if you're interested in learning more about Frank, he owns the Facebook group, Real Estate Agents Mastermind Group. Again, this is for really high performing people. The stuff that I hear about Frank is that he doesn't screw around. Like, he will push you and tell you to just go get crap done and give you the blueprint and all the tactics on how to do it. So in this group, I'm convinced it's going to be the same thing. And then he has his show, The Frank Driscoll Show, which is on YouTube. And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today, is social domination using either a Facebook group and or YouTube channel. So with all of that being said, Frank, again, thank you for coming on and tell us a little bit, maybe kind of just a backstage view into the life of Frank Driscoll. How did you get into doing what you're doing? What could people know about you that would make them say, this is a good dude? This is a good guy. Totally.
No, I appreciate that. I can start by saying I started out as a failure. So for everyone that's watching that thinks they're not good enough, or, you got to get all the breaks, that's completely not true. I was living at the home of my in-laws, really struggling, getting a little bit of pressure. My father-in-law's a doctor, saying, what's your plan, Frank? Right? You're the smart guy who really hasn't amounted to much. Right? I think at the time I graduated from UCLA with honors, and I was just going from job to job, coasting, and really wasn't putting forth the effort that was necessary. And finally, from there, I was able to get a job where I started off like in a call center, became the director of a call center, started getting really good, like helping teach people on phone. Then from there, my boss didn't really want me to run the call center, be the CEO, right? So you got to kind of do your own thing, which is probably the best thing ever. I'm so happy that he didn't do that, because if he put me in charge, I probably would still be there today. So it gave me an opportunity to get into real estate. From real estate, I just started crushing all different types of calls, right? Kind of the old school methods. Just mastering on the phone. I think a few people have said they're the best I've ever heard. I don't know if that's quite true, but I worked as hard as I could to be the best I could. And then that started becoming effortless. From there, I was able to start coaching people because I wanted to help people get better. So the first couple people I tried, I failed. Right? So I got into coaching, I immediately failed because they didn't have skin in the game and they weren't doing the things I asked. Finally, from there, I think I got one guy going from 2 appointments to roughly 8. And then I got another person. I started taking on clients at a higher level. I just need all out effort. So I think I started doing $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And I said, look, I'll deliver for you. Just do every single thing I said. And we just started blowing it up. And then I started taking on more clients, so I couldn't handle it. At the same time, building out, I'm still doing real estate on top of it. Like, I think we had up to 25 deals in a month. I had a goal of 83K, hitting all those kind of things, in a month. And it just started taking off and building up the social, from my Facebook group, which originally was cold calling closers. Right now, it's the more generic term that really helps. And then starting a YouTube channel, things I love, but just speaking events, all that stuff just started blossoming from just taking action and honestly trying to be the best at something. Okay? That's the first takeaway. Don't just do it. Try to become the best at it. And you will have a lot of value added on for people, I promise.
I love it, man. Fun hearing about your story. I think oftentimes people that have made it big or making a big impact, they only want to share their highlight story. So I really appreciate you being willing to say, you know what, I was a failure. I was my in-laws were even questioning me, right? I mean,
They did question me.
That's like the low of all lows, where like, they're like saying, now you promise you take care of my daughter. And I'm like, we need to have a conversation here. Like, I don't see that happening. I'm taking care of her. They're living at my house. Like, what's going on, right?
Oh, it was a failure. I mean, I had it to the point where my wife questioned if she made a mistake marrying me, and that when you go into the mirror, and I remember closing the bathroom door and looking at myself and saying, man, it is on me. I'm a failure. I have to change something. I have to take action. And the truth was, she had better options. And at that exact moment, she was better off with someone else. And it's a hard, when you hit rock bottom, like I hit at that point, and especially if you believe you have some kind of potential or you're better than this, it's really hard to see everyone else around you being successful and you're struggling and you're failing, but you could. Well, at some point you have to take action to just do it. But I think, when you hit that ground, you can rebound up and kind of springboard off it when you hit rock bottom like that, and just drive and do whatever it can to make it happen. It's just putting in the work.
I think sometimes, in fact, I've heard it said that sometimes life's greatest disappointments turn into God's greatest appointments, right? I mean, I think that tends to be what happens is people hit rock bottom and they have to do a gut check and realize, like, who do I want to be? Am I going to stay down here? And sometimes some of the greatest leaders in the world, I think at that point, realize there's greatness within them and they rise up to become something more than everybody else, right? Or at least the path that they were on. And I think it takes sometimes that rock bottom. So I would encourage anybody that's listening to this, that is maybe struggling as a real estate agent, that's saying, you know what, I thought I was going to be good at this and I suck, and I'm really concerned about how I'm going to make ends meet, and I'm in debt, and it's just not working for me. You may be the next Frank Driscoll, right? Where you are like, this doesn't have to be where I stay. This is where I'm at now, but it doesn't have to be where I stay. And you follow, right, the leadership and the example and the modeling of people like Frank, and you realize, like, if he can pull himself out and be somebody great, then I can too. And hopefully that's what happens to somebody listening today.
Totally true. And look, there's nothing special about me. It's just that I wanted it badly enough. Like, I stand on the shoulders of other great people. Like for me to get here, I had great mentors. Okay. Like Joshua Smith spent a lot of time with me, just lifting me up, getting to where I am today, giving me opportunities. Okay. I've had other mentors. Al Sakar is another great mentor of mine that believed in me when no one else did before I had success. These guys could see it and you get mentors. And if you don't have direct contact with them, you read books, you study, right? Like a lot of the mentors, besides those, I don't know them personally, but I'm studying their work. I'm putting in effort because I want to get better. So once you have that mindset, and I'm willing, I'm cocky as all hell, but I'm very humble in learning, right? Like I think of myself as at or near the best, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm not humble enough and know that so many other people have so much knowledge to share, right? So it's a crazy mix that I think I have, but you have to be humble to learn from others that have had that success, and just study someone that you want to be and go make it happen. It's right there waiting for you.
So great. I think, we live in a time and an era where we have almost unlimited access to some of the greats. And I agree that the biggest thing that keeps people from not getting there is simply they don't want it bad enough, right? And I think, again, going back to hitting rock bottom, that becomes a point where it's like when your wife is questioning you, your in-laws are questioning you, maybe those that are listening aren't in that severe of a situation. But if you've questioned yourself, like, am I somebody that can actually provide? Am I somebody that can actually succeed and create significance? Just know that there are plenty of shoulders for you to stand on as well. Frank being one of them, right?
Yeah, reach out. I'll help you. Look, some of my biggest breakthroughs have come from actually helping people. Like literally, I want to say 2 days ago, I had a massive breakthrough on a concept that I do to improve a particular part of real estate. That came about because someone was struggling, needed my help for 5 minutes. I quickly got on the phone. I got so much more out of it for like my training in my groups. I couldn't believe that I wasn't doing this. This particular thing was like how to get value from lenders. And I just created this massive list of where lenders have to come to us and deliver things, okay? Or they're on review as far as I'm concerned. I've got like now 10 lenders fighting for my business the way I've structured it, okay? But this came about by trying to help someone, right, that needed some assistance and no one was helping her. So I said, I got 5 minutes, let's go. And it was able to help her and have that. So a lot of times, like big breakthroughs in your life come about when you're not doing it for that reason, you're truly trying to help someone. So one of my goals is every day to be able to help at least one person. So always hit me up. I'm always available. I'll make time for you.
I want to highlight that. One of the guys that I admire most, he's not in real estate. He's just one of the more selfless people I met. In fact, my family and I were stranded on the side of the road. We'd blown out a tire in the middle of the night coming back from a long trip, and didn't have AAA. Last time I'll make that mistake. And I started thinking who am I going to call? And I'm like, I'm going to call Jess, because he's that kind of guy. And he told me later, he said, I couldn't go to bed that night. I couldn't figure out why. And then I got your phone call. He came and rescued my family on the side of the road. And he said, every day I say a prayer that I can help somebody in need, that there's I can be, on an errand to help somebody. And I thought what a noble way to live. That's when you go from beyond success to significance. And I hear you saying the same thing, Frank, because every day, the desire in your heart is help me unlock somebody today.
Yeah. And you know what? It's first of all, it's such a powerful feeling. I'm usually buying someone lunch, or if I, helping push a car, or helping, in real estate, it's kind of all the time, or entrepreneur if they have questions, or people in my surrounding area generally ask me questions business-wise. But I love to do it, because I don't want to ever get where we think we're so successful that we can't help someone else, or we're too big for all that. I hate that. I hate when people big time me, and that happens to me too, from some players sometimes. And I would much rather go with the giving route. And, oh, by the way, that also helps me get everything else I want in life also. Because whether they help me or not, I'm still going to help them. But more often than not, they're looking for ways now to kind of give back to me if I need help, if I'm struggling in an area, or if I want to, help grow something. They're more than willing to put in the time when they see that I care. And if they don't do it, it's totally fine too. But I'm coming from that place where I'm going to give either way.
The principle that I hear kind of really standing out here, you get to a certain point where success is capped unless you start finding success through other people, right? That's where you start to tap into significance. And just like you said, somebody reached out to you to get unstuck. And what ended up happening is it opened up a whole new chapter for you to be able to pour into all kinds of people. This thing, by you helping that person, it unlocked it for a lot of other people, right? So I think, again, sometimes we get so inward focused, so self-centered, that we don't stop to, whether it be help someone fix a tire, right? Or help somebody. And as a result, our own progress is stunted. And
it's true. It's true. And I must say, it really does happen quite a bit, how often that I'm not looking for it, but it comes my way as a result of me helping. Now, I'm not doing it for that. I'm trying to just help people, but I almost feel like I'm the one that gets blessed. Okay. Even though I'm trying for the person, but I really get, whether the feeling great of helping someone, or an actual something that's conclusive or positive from it. And that was a huge breakthrough. I couldn't believe it. And that it came from that, so specifically. So I'm always looking to do that.
This part of the show was absolutely not planned, but I love it. It really fits in line with the theme, right? When you think bigger real estate, it's not just about doing deals. It's about actually living a great life. And so I really appreciate you, Frank, kind of opening up this side of you and who you are at the core. It's been, you're exactly the kind of person that we all want to be around, and the kind of person we want to emulate. So let's delve back into the topic. Now that we've got kind of our mindsets right about what kind of life we should be really striving to have. Talk to us about building either a Facebook group, and, or in fact, before we do that, let's build a case. We have had this conversation offline about 2 to 3 years from now. Let's say that people are starting to see people blow up on YouTube, right? Or build their own Facebook group, whether it be for their own sphere or their own community or whatever. And it's oh, that's a cool idea, but I'm not going to choose to go down that path, right? And people really at this point in real estate have the ability to do that. You can have success in a number of different ways. Your belief is that that's going to change over the next couple of years. Describe that to us, and about why you think that's the case, and why it should be important for people to start to realize actually building a following and an audience in the digital space is so
absolutely important. Because what it really is, it's a case about how you get attention. Okay. How do you stay relevant? Well, if you've got, let's say, thousands of real estate agents competing in your market. Okay. Well, for me, I don't know about you, but I want to be one where people come to me for deals, not I'm going for them. In my coaching, most people come to me and ask for coaching. I'm not going out and asking for them. Okay. The same with referrals or deals or other type of things now, right, that I'm doing. So how do we set that up? Well, we have to create something of value. We have to be willing to give something that people are going to perceive as value, that we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to create something, a community, right, a YouTube channel where we're giving massive value, where we're forming groups of people that are part of that vision. They love it, right? They're getting excited. So if, let's say we're doing a community group for a particular city, I coach a lot of my clients to do that. Well, it's really powerful when you're giving the value, you're creating that, Well, what happens is over time, now you start getting several thousand people in, or it keeps growing. And now they're starting to see, oh, you do real estate. You're giving a lot, you're trying to help them, you're trying to do other things, but now all of a sudden you're starting to grow other things. They're interested in you. They start to know, like, trust you. So if you're giving massive value, okay, and now let's say 2 to 3 years down the road, you've got a community group and it's got 5,000 to 10,000 members, okay, that is going to be churning attention, deals, opportunities for you all the time. Another agent every year is going to have to start at zero, but here's the problem. We don't know if, let's say, cold calling gets outlawed, right? There's a few cases where, there's people that are just massively calling, they're spamming, they're robocalling. Okay, well, that most people don't like that. It turns them off, right? And I used to coach heavily towards that, right? Where we would call, all different types of calls. And we're really good at it. I'm not saying that. But what's happened is people have gone so far above with technology where they can just be abusing people and just spamming out like thousands of calls in a second. And now they've got cases and legislation. So what happens if that goes away, right? Or you really are prosecuted, or companies are sued and they're saying you can no longer do that. Okay, now you're losing out on a potential, right, aspect that people used to have. Okay, now if you're doing, let's say, open houses, but I've got a community where I'm able to now push my open houses and give them opportunities and have party events there, and you're trying to do it the old way, it's going to be hard for you, right? And then that's going to tie in the same thing to the YouTube channel. If you're not developing content and you're not building a following, you may not be as relevant as the years go on. So I'm not saying it's like immediate, but I'm saying every step is diminishing returns, because you have to go where the attention is. So if this is where people are going, if YouTube is the #2 search platform right behind Google, and it's just growing at a phenomenal rate, why aren't you on YouTube if that's where they are? If Facebook group, if you can see the power of it, like in my group with 23,000 agents, okay, it gives me great to be able to talk to people that could potentially use my services, right? Now, I just give them massive value. So they're thinking, oh, this is great. And then when an opportunity comes up and I can help them, they're like, oh yeah, you know what? I like Frank. He's great. Let me take a look at it. Suddenly I have a massive opportunity that if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have, right? That I have to call the individual agents one by one, or email, or whatever it is, right? So if you're not doing that, start right now. And if you're not sure, reach out. Okay, but what I would do is take action, start building those, because I believe over time, a lot of business, you want business that's coming to you, not that you're always hunting out.
Yeah. Okay. I think if you look at the numbers of the amount of wealth that's going to be transferring from the baby boomer generation to Gen X and then on to other generations, you look at, just overall buying trends, right? It used to be very face-to-face, very, if it wasn't in person, it didn't happen. And I think we'd be naive to think that that's always going to be that way. I'm not saying that we should go all digital, right? I believe in the power of breaking bread, face-to-face, knee-to-knee. But I think what Frank is saying, and what I'm putting an exclamation point behind, is that you'll never get that opportunity if you're obsolete in the digital space, right? Yes, that's where business can be done and probably will continue to be done. Yet if you own zero mind share, if people have no idea who you are, they're not going to be breaking bread with you. They're not going to be knee-to-knee with you, right? You're never going to get that chance to actually meet them, whether it be via Zoom call or whether it be face-to-face, because you never add enough value for them to actually choose you. Whereas somebody else came in, followed a guy like Frank, built a YouTube following, built a Facebook group that was powerful, that was just value rich, give, right? Without any ask. And then when that time comes, they're like, well, of course I'm going to go with Frank. Of course I'm going to go with, agent Y. Because why? Well, because like I know them. I'm grateful for all that they've contributed. There's really no other option out there. And I think that is only going to become strong as this Amazon generation, right, gets more and more solidified into who we are as a people. People don't like, you have to be present there. Is that what I hear you saying, Frank?
Absolutely. And look, I would rather always start with, let's say next year I start with 100 opportunities more than the last year. And then the next year it's 150 or 200, right? Like if you're building out these, you're going to be further ahead every year that it goes. Like every year my groups grow, or those things grow, and the opportunities grow. So even if you still are doing the other things, I'm not saying you just completely stop all the other activities as an agent. You still got to do all the other stuff. The difference is you've got to take action so that you can remain competitive. You have to get your brand out there, right? If people don't know who you are, when it comes time to choose, right, you're just one of many. So you have to establish your foothold. Don't be afraid that they're not going to like you, or you're not like the perfect person, for the web or your image or that. Trust me, there will be people that like you. That's what's great. Like, I just try to be myself, which is awesome, because in my group, like, I'll talk about like favorite video games or other stuff, or music or movies or Netflix, because I like that stuff. Even though I suppress most of my video games to just crank right now. But the truth is, a big part of me growing up. So I'm not afraid to say who I am or what I like to do, because I attract similar people, and therefore they're even more well-connected and more want to participate in what I'm doing. So don't be afraid to be yourself. That's what we want. We want to attract those kind of people.
Let's talk why Facebook group and why YouTube. I think a lot of people spend a lot of time on their Facebook timelines, but you and I both know that those are fleeting, right? That if you didn't post something yesterday, you're not going to be on people's minds today. Talk to us about the value of maybe building brand equity in these other places that have a little bit longer lifespan. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, a regular Facebook page, right, was great. Like, there's times of all things. Like, not too long ago, a blog was awesome. Okay, still has some value, but a lot of people have moved those over to Facebook groups where you can get massive reach, and you want to go where the people are. So if everyone is on YouTube, then where do you want to be? You want to create your channel for YouTube so that you can capture that certain percent of market share, right? And help build and add massive value for people so that you can be there. In Facebook groups, it's a little bit different. I think of it kind of a long time ago. I went to UCLA. So I started some like Bruin site, and oh my gosh, I mean, I got a few people on, but it was so hard. I failed so hard at it because I was doing multiple characters, I was trying to get all these football players on. So I got all these football players, but I was trying to do some UCLA sports, Bruin sports that just, failed. Because I just couldn't keep up with the posts. I was like 30 personalities trying to like get it going, and it never took off. Okay, even though I had a few people in it. Okay, with Facebook group, which I love about it, I took those lessons of the failures that I had, and I just started building and growing. And what I love about it is it's such a great place where people want to be. I see so many people that are just hang out in my group, posting, putting comments, reading things, right? That's where they want to be. So now there's value there. So while they're doing their, if they have a quick real estate question, they ask it, right? Well, I'm going to probably answer it. Like, I'm going to try to answer it. So at least they're getting a high level coach that's going to offer some serious value. And I might message them if it's, something that they need help right away. But there's also other great people in my group that will also bring massive value. So now all of a sudden it's like you have a place to go to get help. Okay. But maybe you don't want to ask someone else or look dumb or this or whatever, or it's a hard question that you just truly don't know the answer. It's a great resource. And then what happens, you start liking the people there, or I think they get to know me. So now they want to kind of help support myself. So now we're interacting and they're inviting people, and it's growing, and they're like, this is a resource that now they use, and it's basically a place that every single person goes to. But the reach on a Facebook group is so much higher than the reach on your page, right? And if you start getting likes or do Facebook Live or other things, it massively extends out. So it's one of the two tools that I would absolutely start with, be a YouTube channel and a Facebook group.
I love it. So I got time for 2 more questions, Frank. So we're going to have to value pack this in. And then I want people to go find you, right? I want people to go find Frank, the Frank Driscoll Show on YouTube, if you missed that, or the Real Estate Agents Mastermind group. Okay. Yep. So this last question, people are going to say like, Frank, I'm already so busy. Like, how am I ever going to build a YouTube channel? What would be your 30 to 60 second response to somebody who says like, how do I find time for this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's a great question. You know what? It is hard. And that's where you have to prioritize time. If I were to take a look at your tasks, right, and I really looked at it, I almost guarantee that I could carve out some time. Okay, if I followed you around all day, right, and we had a crew, there would be time that you're not being as efficient in as most money-making activities. Promise, okay? We kind of tell ourselves this. The second thing is I would say, well, then outsource. If you're that busy, let's get someone to take off those tasks so we can prioritize. And let's just do one thing. Let's do one, if we're doing YouTube channel, let's create the ideas during the week on Monday. Let's get everything ready to shoot Wednesday, Thursday. Let's edit it out, and let's have it in our optimal time, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, whatever you want to do. Okay, let's do it. Let's put forth the effort. Let's prioritize. Let's create it, and let's see what happens. And even if we're doing just one a week, great things are going to happen over time. We have to carve out the time, because if we don't, then what's going to happen? Our pipeline might be full now, but it may not be full in the future. So we've got to do that.
Powerful stuff, man. I love it. And this is the last question, which is the signature question of this show, which is, Frank Driscoll, you're obviously a big thinker, right? You can see here behind me, TB is for thinking big, the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. You're a big thinker. We aspire to be big thinkers as well. Tell us, how do you continue to be a big thinker? What does Frank Driscoll do in order to continue to expand his possibilities, to continue to be a bigger and bigger thinker?
I have an easy step. Okay. Every single day I write out a list of 10 things that I want to do better at. So I might pick, what are the 10 topics? How can I improve my coaching? What are 10 ways I can improve it? So because I'm always innovating, I'm never just stopping and saying, oh, I'm done. So every single day I'm picking a new topic where I'm going to try to improve. And if I can't think of 10, then I think of 25. If I can't do 25, I do 50. The whole point is I can throw away some bad ideas, right? Like when I do a list, not all of them are going to be great, but I'm going to be trying every day. Okay. And if you're doing that every day and you're picking various topics, then what happened is you start to come out with some breakthroughs. Like when I'm creating, like, let's say the next real revenue stream, right? If we're doing a high level one. Well, I'm going to start looking at all of the other ancillary markets that I can tap into with already the base and followings that I have. Okay. So maybe I can combine this with this. And then I'll put down my best ideas for that. And I say, oh, okay, I want to do this. But if you're not actively engaging your mind into allowing that kind of thought process to happen, where it's okay if I have 8 bad ideas or 9 bad ideas, right? That if you do it every day, guess what you're going to do? You're going to have a hell of a lot of great ideas that you've come up with, even if you get one, that you're now going to be taking to put into action, right? It might be, how do I improve my scheduling and make better time? What are 10 ways I can do it? Okay, 10 posts, 10 this, 10 that. Do those. I promise you're going to have massive results. It's amazing how well it works.
I love it. One topic, 10 ideas on how to improve it.
Yes.
Brilliant, man. I've never heard that, and that is fantastic. It makes sense as to why you're having the results that you're having, not just for yourself, but in the businesses and lives of other people. So I want to thank you again, Frank, for pouring into this episode or into this audience, the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. And my final request of all those that are listening is go think bigger. Frank, it's been a total challenge, a total privilege, my friend, of having you here. Appreciate the challenge that you've given all of us to go think bigger. It's been amazing, and I appreciate your time very much.
Thank you so much, guys. Just one final thought. Look, there's nothing special about me. I just want it badly. Like, you have no idea how much it consumes me to be my absolute best. And all you have to do is just take the next step. Don't worry about all the other things you have to do. Just break it all down into single steps and just attack it and go crush your dreams and goals. And I'm here to help in any way.
I love it. Thanks so much, buddy.
Okay, take care.